kitchen. Today we're going to make a simple and delicious chicken pot pie. First, you will need 2 cups of frozen vegetables, peas and carrots, 1.5 cups of cooked chicken, a cup of flour, white AP flour, 1/2 cup of milk, 1 whole onion, 1/2 stick of butter, and 1 3/4 cups of chicken broth. And for the spices, here I have a Goya all-purpose seasoning, some thyme leaves, and some salt to taste. Also, essentially, you will need 2 pie crusts. I choose Pillsbury because it is delicious and it works for me every time. First, what you'll need to do is preheat your oven to 425, which I've already done. This recipe is super simple. All you need to really do is create the pie filling, which is cooked on top of the stove. And then after, when you bake it, you're only baking the pie crust. So you're basically just baking these 2 raw pieces of dough. First things first, get a pan on the stove. We're gonna put in 1/2 stick of butter. So just like that, just gonna toss it in. And before I put it on, I'm going to dice up my 1 onion. So as you can see, I moved all the ingredients closer to the stove, just so it's easier for me to put into the pan while I'm cooking. And also, I said I use frozen vegetables, and if you don't want to use frozen vegetables, that's perfectly fine. Here I have some raw carrots. I can explain to you how to cut them. And the reason why I choose frozen is because they're all uniform in size, and everything cooks all at once and it's balanced as it's in the oven. If you do want to cook with anything fresh, you can just make sure you chop everything up uniform in size. Also be careful with carrots. What I usually like to do is cut it so it's more manageable of a size, and then I carefully just chop a side just like that, so I have a flat surface, and then I'll turn it so it won't move and roll on me. A rolling vegetable or anything rolling while you're cutting it is just danger altogether, so make sure you make a flat surface so you can just hold it down and there's no chance of rolling. So now I'm going to cut the other side, just like so. I'm going to cut the other side. And then I'm going to flip it, and now it's kind of almost like a cube. And here you have more of a uniform piece of vegetable. And so when I go and cut it, chances of it cooking all at the same time and cooking through correctly will be much greater than just chopping it up as it gets larger and larger. But today, like I always do at home, I use frozen vegetables. My family loves it, my friends love it, and it tastes phenomenal. So I suggest a frozen bag and just give it a try. So now I'm going to chop up the onion. So after I chopped up the top of it, I'm going to lay it flat. I'm going to cut through the root. Now I'm going to peel off the skin, just like so. I'm going to throw it away. Just get the mess out of here. Okay. Now the trick with cubing up an onion quickly so you don't fry, and also so everything's uniform, you keep the core and then you slice it along where the veins of the onion are, just like that. It's kind of just like a cheat code for you. Just follow it along where it's telling you. I'm going to go on this side so I can finish up. And now you hold it like this, and then you slice it almost to the edge of where the root is, but not fully through. So I'm going to do that maybe 3 times. So I did it once, twice, and right at the top. Be careful for your fingertips. And now I'm going to go along and just chop it down, and you'll see that your onion quickly chops into uniform sizes of cubes, just like that. That's dicing an onion 101. So now I'm going to do the other side, because in this recipe it calls for 1 whole onion. Okay, after your onion is all diced up, you're going to put the pan on with the 1/2 stick of butter. Medium to high heat. I'm going to let the butter melt. Once I hear it sizzling and calling my name, I'm going to toss these onions in. The best part about chicken pot pie is, once again, it's all about the filling. You have cooked chicken already there and ready. And speaking of the chicken, if you have leftover chicken in your fridge and you're wondering what to do with it the next day, chicken pot pie is the best way to go. It's already cooked, it's already seasoned, and you can just kind of chop it up the way you like, and now you have part of your recipe already all set. So once again, the filling is super simple. All these ingredients are going to go right into this pan, and then they're all going to get tossed into a dough that's going to bake in the oven at about 425 for 32 minutes, and then you're going to have a delicious dinner. But I want to give one more tip about the chicken pot pie. When you go and make your chicken pot pie at home, the best part about anyone's homemade chicken pot pie is their own flavor to it. And for me, I chose Goya. I love that Goya seasoning and the taste that it comes with. But if you have a certain taste in your family that people, get excited for, and you're the only one that knows that you kind of just dab it in there while you're cooking, then add it in, and add it into the mixture that you're making on the stove, because that's where the chicken pot pie is going to become your own, is when you add in your own little twist here and there. And I would love to hear what you add in, because I'm always up for new recipes and new tastes. My family loves Goya, so I'm going to stick with the Goya today. Now that the butter is melting, I'm going to go ahead and add the onion. It's going to bring the whole there we are. Just throw it all in the pan. Just going to give it a little stir. Now allow the onions to cook and get a little translucent. Translucent means when it becomes clear, and if you picked it up you could maybe see through it, but don't pick it up. Just let it get clear in the pan and just keep stirring it around, and that's when the next step will come into play. So as you can see, the onions are becoming translucent, which means they're becoming soft, and that's a great sign. That means add the next step, which is add in the 1 cup of flour. So this basically is the thickness to the sauce inside the pie. So I'm going to mix it in with the onions and the butter. And also let it get a little toasty. That kind of gives away the flour taste. If you ever catch the flour taste, doing this eliminates that. So you kind of mix it up at the bottom of the pan with the onions. Okay. Now, next you're going to add the chicken broth. You have 2 liquids that are going to go in, but I like to add the chicken broth first so I can see how the flour is reacting and how thick it's going to get. And then the milk is also adding flavor, but also adding the white creamy look that you get when you cut into a chicken pot pie. So now I'm going to add in the chicken broth, just like that. And I'm going to stir it and watch it turn into a thick paste. Once again, the best thing about the filling is everything on the stovetop is already cooked through, so you can taste as you go. And the best part about that is you know exactly what you're going to bite into when everything's done baking. So now I'm going to add in the milk. Just like that. And it loosens up again, which is great. It gives it a chance to add in the vegetables and the chicken without being too thick. So I'm just going to mix this evenly. Now I'm going to lower the heat to very low because everything's in there and I don't want it to burn because it's a heavy liquid now. So I'm going to lower it, and now I'm going to add in my spices. So here I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of thyme and 1 teaspoon of Goya all-purpose seasoning, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Ooh, there goes the thyme. Thyme is flying. Okay. I'm going to give it a little stir. I'm going to change utensils because that's obnoxious. Let's try this one out. That's better. Just gonna mix it all together. Now to add in the chicken. And now to add in the vegetables. And now the heat's really not necessary. The frozen vegetables will become thawed out and fully cooked in the oven. So you can shut off the stove. So I'm just going to mix it all together. There we go. Yummy, yummy. Okay, so now this is your filling. Next step is to get the pie crust into the pie pan and ready for baking. I'm going to open up the first one. They usually come with two. If you get one that comes single, make sure you buy two of them because I like to put one under and one on top. And now my little trick with these also is they can get very frustrating if you're just trying to rip them apart. Just kind of give them a little rub just like this because dough is very sensitive. So once it's off, you slowly roll it out. And you're going to lay it into your pie dish. One time I had a big family function, so I doubled the recipe of the filling and I got a big sheet and I put 2 pie crusts on the bottom. So I just kind of laid them out and then I put 2 pie crusts on top. So you can do whatever you want and get fancy or creative. And once again, let me know what you do with them because I'd love to know. So now you're going to add the filling into the pie dish in case it's too hot. There we go. I'm just going to spoon it into the pie dish. Just like that. That is a lot of filling, but we got more left. So here I go. Just topping it all in. I can smell the thyme, all the spices. This is pure comfort food. And it looks pasty now, but once it's in the oven, it will kind of all melt together. And what's great about this is that when you go and slice it, it won't melt and fall apart. It'll kind of stick together. So now that you have your filling in, you're going to top it with the second pie crust. So I'm just going to open this tricky little thing. You gotta be gentle with these pie crusts. Once they mess up, then you realize you don't know what you got until it's gone. So now you're gonna slowly roll out the pie crust again. Then lay it on top. Match it up as best you can because the next step is pinching the sides. Just gonna start at one section and work my way around. Make sure every inch is pinched together because it will melt in the oven and it'll start boiling and bubbling and you don't want it to be exploding through the sides. That's why you're pinching all the way around. Some people get fancy with it, like they pinch it kind of like this so they can create like a pattern all the way around. But because I'm starving, I'm just gonna pinch, pinch, pinch and make sure everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be. And I know everybody's gonna love it. And people might not really even care about the little pinches. So, everybody's different. So now that you've covered your chicken pot pie, you're gonna make some air vents. Just by the tip of your knife. You can be fancy with it, once again, or you can just do little slits, which I usually do. For some reason these 4 slits mean apple pie, but sorry buddy, this is chicken pot pie. So if you have a different design for your chicken pot pie, throw it on top. But if not, this one design works for every pie. So now we're gonna throw it into the oven at 425 for 35 minutes. Just like that. I'll see you later. So, if you noticed, there was a pie sitting in the background. That was the chicken pot pie that I had cooked previously, and I was showing you guys how to create a nice and fresh one. So here it is. It came out piping hot. It's best to have it sit for like 10 minutes because if you cut it right away, it'll be soupy and also it'll be burning hot. So let it sit just like I had in the background. Also, I put a timer on for 35 minutes and now we're at 27. So this pie in this oven has a little ways to go. I'm going to clean up a little bit and we're going to slice right into that pie. Alright, so here we have the nicely golden chicken pot pie. So now I'm going to slice into it. I have my fork and plate all ready. Okay, so I'm just going to give it a choose what side. I'll go right here. Okay, just gonna try to take it out nice and carefully. Oh, make the plate meet halfway. Oh, losing filling. That's mine. Get your own bowl. Get your own plate. Okay. Let's try. Still very hot. Very good. A piece to enjoy in every bite. Nice and thick. The vegetables, the chicken, and every piece of the filling. This is phenomenal. That was delicious. Just gonna try it again in case you were all wondering how good it was. And like I said, my take on the chicken pot pie, I love thyme. So I can taste that thyme in every bite. Some people might not prefer thyme, so they won't even throw it in there. And now I'm interested in seeing what kind of chicken pot pie others come up with. So I hope you all enjoyed this episode on Kaitlyn's Kitchen, homemade chicken pot pie. Thank you. Thank you. Now I gotta do that again. Wait, was that bite good? This happened at the end. I'm sorry. Thank you for joining me on Kaitlyn's Kitchen on this episode of Buffalo Chicken. Thank you again for joining me on Kaitlyn's Kitchen on this episode of delicious homemade. What am I holding? Thank you again for joining me on Kaitlyn's Kitchen on this episode of homemade chicken pot pie. If you haven't already, please check out my other episodes on apple crisp and Corona battered onion rings and buffalo chicken dip. All delicious and all necessary. Gotta check them out. Was that a wink? I'm not sure. Let me try again. So if you haven't yet, please like, comment, and subscribe. And follow me on my Instagram page, Kaitlyn's Kitchen 2018, on the link below. Thank you again and see you soon.
Oh, it does look more puffier.
Oh, jeez.
It's a good thing.